Let's get some reaction here at home. Owen Nkomo from Nkunzi Wealth. So this was a shock, but not too much of a shock.
I think only in the sense that there's no detail. That's why there hasn't been an aggressive reaction, in my view. We've previously seen the rand fall by a bigger margin than it has today. And I think that I don't want to say I'm happy, but I think it's better that this announcement or this recall was done when the currency was between 12.30 and 12.40. Otherwise, we could have been looking at a worse off exchange rate by the end of the session today. But I think what's very important, in my view, is the reasons behind this mission being stopped. I really think that the president has to have something major for him to have stopped this mission to the US and to London, because these guys were out there to market the progress the country is making, etc. You know, and they're going to go there and showcase that the rand is very strong, and you know, please do not downgrade us, etc. Continue to come and invest in South Africa. For the president to have made a decision to say, guys, you know what, come back home, I think there's something more important.
Are you expecting a reshuffle?
Look, I'm not going to speculate on a reshuffle, and I really am hoping that the president and the rest of the leadership in the government has seen the impacts of what decisions like this can do in the country in terms of the currency. I don't think that international investors are going to be pleased if there's a reshuffle that sees Minister Gordhan being taken away from the Minister of Finance, especially having been just hot off the heels of a very decent budget, in my view, under the difficult circumstances. I think if he were to be reshuffled, definitely there will be more negative sentiment around how the country is run, per se, and the decisions that the president is making himself.
Peter Montalto said opening Pandora's box again. What's the worst case scenario, say, for the rand, the market, if that does happen?
I really think it depends on who the president replaces Minister Gordhan with, if he does make that decision. And I really do think that if it does happen to be Brian Molefe, that could be looked at by the market as something maybe that could have been looked at differently. Because, you know, these conditions and the circumstances under which he actually got invited to come into Parliament have been debated in the market before. And it could be sending a message that says, you know, there's a lot of decisions that will be made out there that could still be unpopular. And, you know, as much as the international community is giving us a lot of room to maneuver and implement our strategies, I think that it would worry markets quite a lot if that were to be the decision made. An
interesting thing came up there, that the rand was very strong when this happened.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the view that maybe the presidency is testing market sentiment, a possible reaction?
I think the president is very smart. He saw what sentiment around making decisions like this did to the currency before. So I would really be surprised if that's the reason he's made this decision. I think he's got a more concrete decision. I just wish it had been shared with us. And I've said before, when this news broke before, that I really just think the government could be more proactive and say, okay, this is what's happening and this is why we're doing it.
To stop the rumor mill.
To stop the rumor mill. You know, I mean, now people are speculating all sorts of things, and it's red flags at a time when the country did not really need it. We're starting to talk about potentially seeing interest rates come off, but the interest rates, you know, they love a very strong currency. But if we're starting to weaken the currency, and on something that we could call engineered weakening of the currency due to statements like this being made in the public, I think that would be a big concern.
The banking stocks down, insurance stocks, things like that affected. Explain that link. Yeah,
I mean, definitely. I mean, when the financial stocks react like this, it's not a surprise to us, because a decision like this will probably mean that the investing community could take the decision to probably start reversing these inflows we've started seeing coming into the country right now, which have strengthened the rand. So if that happens, you will see some of these big banks and the insurance stocks and some of the property stocks losing ground, because if that doesn't happen, or rather if it does happen that the minister is actually reshuffled and sent elsewhere, the rand weakens, and then all of a sudden you're talking about inflation. And inflation is the last thing that the industrial and the banking as well as property stocks actually want.
So this links through to interest rates that we're not expecting to go up, maybe come down this year. That could change.
Yeah, most definitely.
The rating downgrade still hanging over.
Yes, most definitely. But I'd like to believe that, you know, we as a country have given the international investing community enough room outside of such political drama that South Africa is on a good trajectory in terms of doing what we can within our, you know, within what we can control. So this decision is quite unfortunate today. I think it comes at the wrong time, and I hope it's for a better reason than the reason Minister Nene was recalled.
All right, we wait and see. Thank you very much. Owen Nkomo from Nkunzi Wealth.